The Eminence in Shadow, Season 2, Episode 12, aka Episode 32 overall, highest. So this is it. This is the finale for Season 2. I don't know if we're going to get a Season 3. I'm hoping we do. Apparently, Eminence in Shadow is not only really popular in Japan, but it's making the company a lot of money. So hopefully we'll get a Season 3. We are getting a movie, though. So the movie is going to be covering the next arc. So Season 1, I believe, covered Volumes 1 and 2. Season 2 covered Volumes 3 and part of 4. The movie's going to cover the rest of Volume 4. And right now, the series has 6 volumes. So there is enough to do a Season 3. But enough about what we may or may not get. Let's just jump right into this. So we start off exactly where we left off in the last episode, where Mordred has summoned Ragnarok, and he's like bragging about it. And then Sid just nonchalantly chops off one of its arms. And so Mordred summons a bunch of these tiny dragon demon things. I don't know what to describe them as. They're like winged demons. They also come out of the same portal that Ragnarok came out of. And they go to attack the city. And that's when we get this cool moment where Shadow raises his arm. And all the women that were in attendance for the wedding ceremony stand up and announce that they're members of Shadow Garden. And then they transform their outfits, and then they just basically disappear. Like they rush into the city to fight all these demons. Meanwhile, Shadow tells Princess Rose, I think there's something you got to do, right? Why don't you go do it? And Princess Rose runs out of the building so that she can go fight the demons and protect her kingdom. Shadow decides to go fight Ragnarok, while Epsilon and Beta decide to fight Mordred. And we just get this moment where Mordred, like he unsheaths his sword and it sends out this invisible blade that's Epsilon and Beta dodge. And then basically he's bragging about how he's like the greatest fencer in the world, how he's mastered the invisible blade. And Epsilon and Beta basically call him out on that and say that the invisible blade, that's just an elven artifact that unleashes an unseeable sword. And you're bragging about a stolen achievement. But that seemed to be par for the course for the Cult of Diablos. And yeah, they basically just call him out. And that kind of pisses Mordred off. And yeah, they basically start fighting each other. Meanwhile, Sid just wraps up Ragnarok in his wires and just starts slashing the crap out of it. We have Princess Rose running around trying to gather her men. She's telling the soldiers to gather as much people as she can. She's telling her maid Margaret that there is a bunker underneath the palace and to get everyone that you can inside there. Mordred just like flies out of nowhere and crashes right in front of Princess Rose, and Epsilon and Beta show up. Of course, Mordred's like pissed off because he sees these two girls as below him, but they beat the absolute crap out of him. And he says it doesn't matter because Ragnarok is going to destroy all of you. So the girls kind of call him on this and say, the reason why we fought you was because we want to know what you know. You know about this Ragnarok. You know about the portal and all this stuff. Tell us everything you know. Mordred refuses. And they say, well, why won't you tell us? If you're so confident that Ragnarok is going to kill us anyways, then what's the harm in you telling us everything that you know? And yeah, he starts explaining. And we basically get this like pretty cool lore situation where he explains that there's other universes. Like not necessarily other planets and stuff, but there's other dimensions. And we get this like cool graph where we see all the different dimensions. And they're like kind of in a circle, but they're it's like a bunch of circles overlapping each other. And in the middle of all this is something that no one knows what it is. Like they think maybe it's the creator, maybe it's God. No one has any idea what's in the middle of all this. But around this being or thing or whatever is just a bunch of dimensions that are kind of just going through the universe. And every once in a while, two dimensions will cross each other. And when that happens, they will leave a part of each other in the other dimension. So, for example, the dimension that these characters are in right now originally had no magic whatsoever. But it ended up crossing paths with a dimension that did have magic. And so some of that magic came into this planet. And it wiped out what they called the dragons, but it's actually dinosaurs. And the people that were able to adapt to the magic, the humanoids, that's how they gain magic. But he even says that who's to say that the humanoids, that us humans, are actually from this planet? we could have been from a completely different planet. We could have been from a different realm. Because like what happens is that when things cross our realm, it doesn't just leave things behind. It also takes some things. So like when people and things get spirited away, it's because they're crossing into the other dimension and now they're a part of the other dimension. So yeah, it's just I don't know. I find this idea kind of cool. It's basically just there's a bunch of dimensions out there, and every once in a while they'll cross each other, and when they do, they leave behind a piece of each other in the other dimension. Some things get left behind, some things get taken. And that's basically what's going on here. And so the Cult of Diablos wants to figure all this stuff out. They even mentioned that Diablos is not even the original Diablos. Like Aurora was created using like the demonic powers of a being from another dimension. So they're basically just trying to figure out more information about all this. So I don't know. I just think this is kind of just cool where we just have a bunch of dimensions crossing each other and leaving its footprint on each other. But yeah, Mordred just basically says, none of this really matters to you guys because you're all going to die anyways. Ragnarok is going to destroy you. And then we just get this comical moment where the dead carcass of Ragnarok falls right behind Mordred. And of course, he cannot understand this because Ragnarok's supposed to be the most powerful thing in the world. So how the hell can Ragnarok be defeated by Shadow so easily? But he pretty much just has like a psychotic breakdown, and he shoves his head into the corpse of Ragnarok, and it mutates him. So he becomes like this flying humanoid demonic kind of creature. And he goes to confront Sid, or Shadow, I should say, who's just chilling up in the sky. And possessed Mordred shows up, and Sid just starts wailing on him to the point where he punches him so hard he like flies into space. And we just have like the Shadow Garden members like Beta and Epsilon are just kind of watching on. And 559 is just like orgasming about all this. She watches her quote unquote Lord and Master. But yeah, in outer space, Sid creates this barrier around the planet to protect it. And then he starts talking about basically like atomic bombs and nuclear power and stuff. But it kind of seems like he like watched Oppenheimer, but he kind of fell asleep during it a couple of times because he's not very good at explaining it. He's just kind of like, something nuclear fusion. I'm atomic, and then he explodes, and it's less an explosion and more like almost like the Big Bang. We just see like multiple planets and just this giant explosion, and Mordred is defeated. He's dead, and Sid comes back to the planet where all the girls are happy and excited because the day is saved. And that's when Sid sees this like green portal kind of thing behind him, and he's wondering about it. So he touches it, and it teleports him away, and it disappears. And then that's when we cut to Earth, where we see Akane, who we haven't seen since the first episode of season 1. So Akane was the girl that got kidnapped and Sid ended up saving back before he got isekai'd. So yeah, she's in Earth. A couple years from the last time we saw her, because I believe last time we saw her, how old was she? Like 16, 17? And now she's 20. And Earth is just kind of destroyed. It's just basically a bunch of rubble. We're on a post-apocalyptic Earth, and there's like demons and stuff, and people kind of living in these small like little shelters. And Akane is going to go out to traverse the post-apocalyptic world. She's going to do like a patrol of the area and see if she can either find anybody or find any mementos for people who have lost loved ones and bring them back. And as she's doing so, she ends up getting kidnapped again. And I believe one of the people she gets kidnapped was one of the people that kidnapped her from season 1. They basically been turned into like a cyborg who's obsessed with drugs. And I don't remember if the other one was also one of the members that kidnapped her from season 1. But there's basically 2 cyborgs that kidnap her. One of them believes that they're going to kidnap her for to ransom her off for drug money. The other one is like, no, we're just going to kill her because that's what our boss wants. And the one that believes that they're going to do it for drug money, he starts having like a flashback because he sees her face and he recognizes the time when Sid beat the crap out of him, and he like has a PTSD flashback, and he starts choking Akane, And that's when Shadow arrives. And Shadow attacks the dude and just easily beats him. And Akane is watching him. And she has like a flashback to Sid, who is someone that she's never forgotten. And that's how it ends. And we also, I think it's kind of cool. Like, as we are doing all this, we get the opening theme from season 1 playing. So it's just basically we go full circle where we started off with Akane being kidnapped, and we had the opening theme, and we had Sid coming to save her, and now we end season 2 with Akane once again being kidnapped. We have the opening theme playing as Sid, now as Shadow, once again saves her. So yeah, for anyone who's like kind of confused about what the hell happened, Sid ended up getting transported back to his original world. Only it's been years have passed, and his original world is now like post-apocalyptic. But this is the original world that Sid was from, and he's not alone. Here's like the one thing that's, I guess, kind of a plot hole. Maybe the movie will show it differently. Sid ended up coming to this world with Beta. Beta is going to be with him on this journey. So when the movie comes out, Beta is going to be with him, and I can't wait for that, because one of my favorite moments of all time in the Eminence Shadow happens during this arc. I won't spoil it, other than saying Beta discovers social media and she becomes a huge troll, and it's just hilarious. He basically discovers message boards and forums and starts spurging out on people, and it's the greatest moment ever. I absolutely love it. So yeah, there you go. That's the end of the episode. So it's setting up for the movie. So in the movie, we're going to have Shadow and we're going to have Beta back in Shadow's original world. Yeah, this almost kind of feels like a finale. Not only do we go full circle with Akane being kidnapped, Sid going back to his original world and saving her, and then the original OP music, but it also kind of feels like a finale because during the end credits, we get a montage of everything that's happened in the series so far. So we get a montage like starting from episode 1 with Sid saving Akane and getting isekai'd, and all of the adventures he went through in season 1, all the adventures he went through in season 2, and then it ends kind of like the opening to season 1 ends, where we see Sid standing and he turns off the TV, and like as soon as he turns off the TV, it fades to black, and that's how it ends. Yeah, I'm glad that the movie was announced, because otherwise it would feel like that's it. That's the end of the series. I don't know what else to say. I feel like I'm just kind of rambling at this point. I absolutely loved it. I freaking love this series so much. It's so fantastic. The volumes are great. The manga is great. The anime is amazing. I'm so glad that we're gonna get a movie. Hoping it does well. I want the series to just keep continuing. So yeah, I hope nothing but success for Emerson Shadow and for the company, the studio behind it. And here's hoping that we're gonna get a season 3 at some point. I'm sure we will. Hopefully it won't be too long. There's the end of season 2. And no more Eminence Shadow for a while, which is kind of sad because this is like one of the things I was looking forward to every week. But what a way to go. So there you go. There's Eminence Shadow Season 2, Episode 12, aka Episode 32 overall, highest. I loved it. Great moments, great humor. Cool to see Sid using his atomic blast again. And I just absolutely love the callback to Episode 1. And I'm so glad that a movie was announced, because as soon as the episode ended, I was like actually kind of sad. The episode ended. I was setting up to do a recording for the review. And as I was setting it up, I saw a notification that a movie was being announced. So I was like, okay, sweet. That kind of made my sadness go away. So yeah, I'm rambling at this point. I loved it. Take care, everybody. Hope to see you next time. Later.